more of a comment, really. And I guess I just wanted to say thank you first to the team for putting together this wonderful webinar today, and I'm sure many others on the call will echo that, but also for the initiative and for following through the initiative within the pandemic context, because I think it would have been really easy in that context to say, oh, well, life's got hard and we've all got to go and queue for toilet paper and so on and so forth, and we'll just at that stage say we've tried and that's that. But it was wonderful as a researcher in the pandemic context to be able to bring ideas to the Youth PPI Café and for it to be managed so beautifully by the peer co-facilitators, but also to really then be able to shape and inform what we did in practice. So, I'm a personal case study in terms of how impactful this can be in changing the direction of what we do as researchers. And that, for me, very much was in a huge part due to what I was told by the young people in the cafe itself. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria, and thanks for all your helpful contributions in the chat as well. I appreciated those very much. Gary, you've got your hand up. So Oliver, could you unmute Gary for us?
Hi, thank you, Richard, and thanks everyone. I've got a question about when you invite researchers in, how much prep work do you have to do with the researchers to help them engage with the young people? Thank you.
Thanks, Gary.
Yeah, so the process usually is the researcher will contact us and then we will try and find a date that they can do and try and work out what it is that they are looking to present. And then we'll discuss with them what the session will usually look like. So we'll explain that you will have an hour, and that at the beginning you should present a little bit about what you're hoping to talk about, and also to come with some questions. So we recommend a minimum of 3 questions to sort of bring. And we also recommend sharing some prep work with the young people beforehand. So for example, it might be helpful if young people have the slides so they know what questions they're being asked about. And also if they can look over, for example, a participation information sheet or a poster or that sort of thing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. That's great.
Thank you.
I think as well, we also, you ask them to provide a brief, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, and the participation agreement, as we spoke about, they have to read it and sign it. Yeah, and that's just to agree that it isn't a transactional experience, that the researcher is getting something out of it, but also the young people are. So it's really important to talk through the young people about what your research methods are, and what kind of data analysis you're going to do, why you're doing it like that. And the young people often have questions about why you're analysing it that way, why aren't you looking at this thing instead, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's also, it plays a big role in how because our network's so large now in terms of the amount of young people involved, it plays a huge role in how we share different research studies with the young people, so that we know how so the young people know how to express an interest in the project if it feels relevant for them, and then we can make sure that the session with the researcher is as meaningful as possible in terms of their involvement too.
Thank you, everyone. Perhaps I can be cheeky and ask a kind of the opposite part of that question that Gary asked, which is how much do you feel that the young people need to be prepared, in order to take part in this process? Is that something that you do, or is that the responsibility of the researchers that come to you and so on? You're recruiting a lot of young people with different experiences and knowledge and expectations and so on.
Yeah, so before a young person joins any of our sessions, they do have an induction with us. And what that's going to do is run through what research is, what it looks like, and different kinds of discussions that you might have with researchers. So we have some example discussions with different sentences that a researcher might say, and that sort of thing. And also we do ask researchers to sort of come and explain it in a sort of simple, easy way. But young people do ask a lot of questions, and they are very intrigued about the research. And I think this is something that's really important and something that we're looking to do, to have sessions that are just around what research is, so that young people can really get an understanding of it. So yeah, we're going to be having information sessions hopefully in the future.
And Maria has actually done a recording for us, hasn't she?
Yeah, Maria's made some videos all about what engagement is and why engagement is so important. And that's shared with all of our young people now whenever they come and join our network. So they have that as well, which is really important.
Thank you very much. There are so many questions here. I know you've answered quite a lot of them in your extremely comprehensive presentation, but there was a question here about the diversity of the people that are getting involved. Is that an issue for you? How have you thought about that?
Yeah, so this is something that we are looking to look at more in the future. So I've made a questionnaire that we're going to give out to everyone on our network, and just to sort of find out a bit more who these people are, because there are 100 of them. There are more than 100 of them. So we want to work out where they're from, were they homeschooled, do they have disability, that sort of thing. So it's not information that we currently have, but it's information that we're looking to collect. And also we are looking at having a BAME volunteer as well. But yeah, unfortunately I can't give you the answer to that question because we don't know it yet.
But I think it's a constant, we're constantly working on it, and I suppose in particular when we're looking at the younger group, younger cafe, that there's a whole raft of young people that we want to engage. For example, looked after children and a whole range of different young people, but acknowledging that for the 11 to 15 cafe, of which we've sort of split even that into 11 to 13 and 13 to 15, because that pragmatically in our development part of it, or our early development part of it, we want to go for quick wins and get it going. And then part of our development process, when you saw that squiggly line that we had, that would be right, how do we actually engage young people there? Because a lot of the research we actually do in Sussex for that age is around social inclusion and mental health. So it is an important sort of topic area for us. But we're nowhere near being in the position we want to be in.